Howdy, folks. So, had a post online and had a couple questions on gamma trading. So, we're trading the SPX 0 DTE options and the ES futures. And I put a post out there just talking about how today was choppy. And the way we could see that was with the gamma exposure bot. And for me, I feel like I'm flying blind without it. So, I just kind of wanted to walk through that because I got a couple questions on how the gamma exposure bot can kind of help you avoid either chop or maybe some sort of reversal type of day. So just getting started here, what I generally do is just look at the calendar, right? So on the upper right, not a whole lot going on today. We had a Federal Reserve speaker at 1 p.m., but other than that, not a whole lot of major impact items. So what I do is usually start trading around 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, and try to get an idea of where the flows are going and what's happening. So what I did here, if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see the Gamma Exposure Bot. We're at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and you see the spot price here in the white level here. And what I generally look at are a few things, and that is the major positive gamma exposure level and the major negative gamma exposure level and the net gamma exposure level along with the flows. So check out these two levels. I will plot them on the SPX chart here on the top. Okay. So we had 5630 here. So 5630. And yeah, so when I take a look at this and then I take a look at the volume market webs that I have here, not a whole lot of stuff going on. We had a gap up, so I could tell that we're going to go for a gap fill. All right. But not a whole lot more than that. We have some points of control here at the bottom. So we had it for Friday here. And then we have last week's point of control down here. And generally price is attracted to high traffic areas or high volume zones, which the point of control and these market web zones really show us. So in my mind, okay, we could be trying to touch those, but wasn't really sure. So I go look at the gamma exposure bot. Where are we at? 3.282 billion net gamma exposure at 10 a.m. Eastern. Honestly, that is nothing. That is literally chop. So you see this dotted line here? That means the market is kind of balanced and there's no real indication one way or another. So really what you're trying to do is just kind of sit on your hands and just wait, because that is not a very big amount whatsoever. And what you're trying to do, especially around 10 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern, is try to see whether this is like a whole lot above 10 billion or even 20 billion. That's really a strong net gamma exposure level. And we know it's kind of trending. And at the moment, it wasn't. It was just kind of chopping around and doesn't give us much of a bias. So we'll just scroll this to the right here and we will see what happens. So we start seeing net gamma exposure get to the negative side around 10:30. So that's starting to get pretty big on that side. And you see the flows coming into 5600. So then we can move our gamma exposure line down to 5600, which is what? The point of control from last week. Makes a lot of sense, right? All right. So even though we've got some trend going this way, and at the moment, let's just move this forward a little. So yeah, you see it starts moving in that direction. So we'll move this over. Yep. All right. So we're going to the point of control for the Friday, and then we also have the point of control down here. But we see the major negative gamma line is down here, and on the ES that would be somewhere around this level here. So that's how I'm looking at it. And now that this is negative, we're saying, okay, it's going to the downside and we need to start biasing that way. So if you're going to trade it, and although it's kind of counter trend at the moment because we're waiting on NVIDIA, you can just not trade or you can trade small to the downside. And that's kind of how I look at it. So let's see what happens with the gamma exposure bot. with that 5,600 level. So yeah, it's continuing to stay negative, biasing towards the major level. Comes back to um, a balanced market. So no gamma exposure either way, comes back positive. But then boom, they just start knocking it around to the downside. So let's see what that looks like here. Big drop, hits point of control, access supply and demand, or support resistance, sorry. Where does it go to the point of control? 56, right around 5,600. Cool, huh? So it's like a magnet. And this gives you the bias, the net gamma exposure. So we'll do it on the ES. Boom, hits this point of control all the way down here. Kind of a weird level, right? But it's really just the SPX translated over to the ES. Yep, got within 3 points. Fun stuff. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you're interested in using the gamma exposure bot and market webs to give you that kind of roadmap with the navigator here. So the roadmap would be the market webs. Gamma exposure bot is the navigator. It's telling you which side it could be going towards. So that's how I look at it. And maybe you can incorporate that into your trading as well.